So we're going to call the meeting to order at 6:31. Members in attendance are the whole board: Mark, Suzanne, Jacob, Charlie, and Leanne. Also on the Zoom right now are visitors, Larry and Anita, Sue Wilson, Melissa Heberman. I think I saw Dave around there somewhere too. And then John Chamberlain. I think that's John. So if you could do me a favor, well, it's not bad now, but if more folks join, we might just ask folks to mute if they're not talking, just to prevent feedback and stuff. So with that, we'll jump right in. First order of business, as always, is to review and make any changes to the agenda. Are there any changes to be made to the agenda?
I have none.
Yep. Okay. Hearing none, we will move on to the second item on the agenda. This is the approval of the minutes of May 18th. And I will note, Genevieve, just so you know, Barry Cade just joined us as well.
Okay, thank you.
So is there a motion to approve the minutes of May 18th?
I will make a motion to approve the minutes of May 18th.
Great. We have a motion to approve the minutes of May 18th as written. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great. We have a second. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question about those minutes.
We have a question from Larry. Yes?
The very, very bottom of the minutes, when you came out of executive session,
Yep.
I believe that's supposed to say no motion was made. Discussion was had, and I believe it says, I'm trying to recall, I'm going by recollection, the very bottom.
I'll pull them up so I can double check, Larry.
Yeah, I think I saw.
I believe that the word no is supposed to be in there.
Yep.
Larry, you mean at B2 under employee conduct, the discussion was held, but motions made should be but no motions made.
That's
Good
what I'm
catch.
referring to. I don't have it in front of me, so I can't tell you exact
Yeah.
wording it was, but I believe the word no is supposed to be in there. After the
I
discussion
think you're right
about
about that.
employee conduct or
Yes.
something.
Yep. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
good, good, good catch.
7B2. Good
So,
catch.
Ja-
And my
Jacob,
brain
do
didn't
you-
even register that. That's funny.
Yeah. Jacob, do you want to make that as a friendly amendment?
Yeah, I'll make a friendly amendment that item 7B2 reads employee conduct discussion was held, but no motions made.
Okay, great.
Yeah, but didn't we make the motion of the paid holiday and all that?
Yeah, and that's
After
That was
After-
separate.
or what?
Yeah, that's reflected above under the proposed contract modifications.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in there.
Yeah, but I thought we made that, we talked about that in executive session, and we made the motion after, but maybe
Yep.
not.
We did, and that's why the motion is captured there. Yep.
Okay.
We didn't make any motions about employee conduct.
No, we didn't. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Is there any further discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raising your hand.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, the minutes are approved as amended. Thank you. Next up is Public Works, Roads and Bridges. Are there any grant updates that you're aware of, Mark?
No, I'm not aware of any.
Okay. I'm not either, and I don't know if Michael's gonna jump on or not tonight, but catch up with him.
Yeah.
So the next item is the fixed radar speed signs. Again, I don't see Michael here, so I was going to ask him if he had an update on when Lafayette was going to get those in. Have you talked to him, Mark, about that at all?
I talked to him, and hopefully within a week or so, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
he was. Yeah, I think he got the posting thing the other day. So.
Okay. I know they've been out here to look at it multiple times.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
on their agenda. Okay,
Yeah.
great. And then lastly, paving. So paving started today. They've completed Hill
No,
West.
it started on Friday.
Oh, I'm sorry. It started on Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they said they were going to start on Hill West, but they ended up on West Hill and then came back. So I don't know.
Well, they weren't supposed to start till later anyways. All of a sudden they called me the other day.
Yeah.
we start Friday. I said, yeah, I guess so.
Sure.
And they got it ready, so.
Yep. Cool.
Yep.
So, yeah, so Hill West is done and West Hill is, I haven't actually driven up there yet today, so I'm not sure how far they got.
They got that one done.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, West Hill is done.
I believe so. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Cool.
A lot
Great.
of money for just a couple days of work.
Yeah.
I know, I know, like, this should take longer, right?
Yeah, they should.
Yeah. Oh, man.
I'm not sure they got the top coat on West Hill done, Mark.
Oh, maybe
I know
not.
they,
Oh,
okay, I know they were putting the second coat on Hill West, but I'm not sure they got the top coat on West Hill when I went down through there earlier.
oh, okay, maybe not. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Well, good. Maybe they'll wait 2 years to invoice us for that.
So now,
One can only hope, right?
now we got a new racetrack.
They got PPP, they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, right. Awesome. Anything else under roads and bridges?
No, I don't have anything else.
No. All right, great. Moving on to buildings and grounds. There's no update on the 98 Main Street location. We haven't heard a beep from the post office since way back when, so we can just carry that over.
Mhm.
And then under generator repairs, I'd hoped to have like another estimate to review tonight with the board, but unfortunately we don't have that in hand yet. So we'll target next meeting to review and hopefully act on that.
What was that estimate for another new generator or?
Yeah, that was to get another estimate for the new one, and then
Okay.
also just to clarify whether there's any value in the old unit.
Oh, okay.
You know, whether there's any kind of parts thing or whether we can get anything for that one.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, did I miss something? We went from a burned out control board replacement to a new generator, is that correct?
So the cost estimates that they've come in with, they gave us an estimate for a new control panel. And then we asked them for an estimate for a new generator just to compare because the control panel cost was about 11,000. And
Oh, that's right too.
yeah, so for kicks, we asked them what a new one would cost and they quoted us about 18,600. So we were gonna get a second estimate on a new one and then clarify again whether we had any value in the old one and if we can get some value out of that.
Thank you, Chair.
What do I mute?
Telephone, Katie.
Oh, mute.
Okay. Awesome. So yeah, hopefully next meeting we'll have those quotes in hand and we can act on this. The transportation alternatives program. So we're scheduled to have a meeting with the group working on that with the grant manager, Linda, Thursday at 1 p.m.
Okay.
So we'll meet Thursday at 1 p.m. with Michael and Aaron and Linda and advance the next phase of that with Dubois King.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
And lastly, under Public Works, just the FEMA update. So I have a check-in scheduled with Rufus, our contact with them for tomorrow. He had a couple outstanding questions on the damage inventory. So we'll get that cleared up with them tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Anything else under Public Works this evening for anybody? Great, we're moving right along.
Yeah.
Given the time, we're going to pass over visitors for the moment and go to Water Commission issues. So the only Water Commission issue I've got just came in an hour ago from Ross, which was a quote to reclaim. I'm just going to read it. This is a quote to have the reclaim tank pumped. It's for the worst case scenario of 4,000 gallons. It will at most be half that. So the quote that we got was for about $1,200, $1,243. So Mark, do you want to quickly describe what he's talking about with the reclaim tank?
So the reclaim tank, all the manganese and everything settles into the cone in the bottom. and they have a filter press in there, but the way it was designed, we were supposed to have enough manganese in there it was to be like 5 years, to use the filter press, but we haven't used the amount of water that they had it designed for. So now, instead of trying to fire up that filter press and mess with that, I think it's going to be a lot cheaper just to pump that out. I mean, the plant's been running since 2007, so if $1,200 every, so many years, I just think it's going to be hard to get that filter press going and everything. So I think it's going to be a lot quicker just to pump that out, because we're having troubles. It's built up enough now where he's having some troubles with the floats and everything. So that's why we got to get it pumped out.
All right.
Did you not just pump it out a year or two ago?
No, it hasn't been pumped out since we installed it.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
So just, I'm just trying to understand the engineering just for my own curiosity. So it sounds like there's not enough flow to justify using the press. And so it's just been, we haven't had to touch it since 07, and it's now easier to pump it than running it through the press.
Yeah. And then,
Cool.
I mean, it's not hazardous or anything. So a septic hauler can just come and get it out. So
Just mineral sludge.
I think that filter press has been sitting there. So, I mean, it's going to be hard to get it going.
I'm going to bring up the estimate real quick, just so people can look at it before we vote to approve it.
Mhm.
Was that from St. Highgate?
This is from Wind River Environmental.
Oh, okay.
They took over.
Oh, okay. It's pretty much Drumick from Highgate, but
Yes.
they took them over. Okay, yeah.
So as you can see here, we've got the total cost here of $1,243.
I mean, that's about right. I mean, for a regular septic tank, you're looking at 300 to 400. So
Yeah.
you're looking at
Mhm.
2,000 gallons. So that's about right. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
I told Ross to let me know when it happens so I can go down and help him with the valves and everything, and we can get it out. Yeah.
What is the energy recovery? Does that run through like a heat exchanger?
No,
Oh,
what
okay.
it is. Oh, I don't know. They might
Right
might
down
run
here, I don't know what I mean.
They might run it through,
8 to
through
10%.
something. They might run it through something to get the water out of it. I'm not sure. Yeah.
I'd be curious, but I mean, that's not conditional upon my approval. Just I don't know what they mean by that.
Yeah.
They're
Oh.
clearly highlighting it as a thing.
I can,
Yeah.
I'll copy the board and ask Ross when we get back to it.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, that'd be good to know what that cell is. Yeah.
All right.
Huh.
So, is,
Okay.
I want to start a discussion on this if there's more, but if there's not.
Well, just a really quick question.
Yeah.
Is there a use for the filter press then, if it's seeming like the pattern of this is going to be that it'll just be more like a settling tank that gets pumped every so often?
No, it might be something we might just want to look at, seeing if we can get rid of it.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that because it was just, I didn't really think we needed it in the first place. And, the plant's designed for 5,000 gallons a day and we use, around 20 to 25.
Right.
And I think they didn't figure out manganese wasn't as high as what they thought once we started operating. Once
Okay.
the original
Mm-hmm.
test of manganese was higher than once we started drawing down the well, it went down. So
Yeah.
that's
Sure.
come, which is a good thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's great not to have to use it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
I'm good. I have no more questions.
So, for that, we'll entertain,
I'll make a motion to clean out the settling tank and the water plant for was it 1,200? What was it?
1243 is Wind River's estimate, so,
Okay, for not to exceed 1243.
okay, great. So we have a motion to accept Wind River Environmental's quote for 1243 for pumping the tank. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Jacob. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great, so passes unanimously. Thank you. So I did note that I just saw that Michael did just join us. So we buzzed through Public Works pretty quick, Mike, but we'll circle back to it if there's anything that you'd like to add regarding any other projects.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. We had a truck breakdown this afternoon. I just literally got back from Underhill.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
I'm glad you could join us.
Yeah.
So I just didn't know if you had any, the questions were, I didn't know if you had an update on or wanted to comment at all on any of the paving, or if you had a date yet with Lafayette for the speed signs.
No, I'm surprised I haven't heard from Lafayette. I meant to call them this afternoon, but like I said, with the truck breaking down, I didn't get a chance to call them because I was hoping for an update for this meeting this evening. Paving, I know West Hill, they completed it. They were just starting Hill West when I left, so I don't know if the rain came down. I'm sure if they didn't complete it today, they'll complete it in the morning.
Great.
But yeah, that's been going pretty good. Other than Friday morning, they were just starting and their broom broke down, so they were canceling the trucks, shutting the project down. And I told them I could have a broom there in 20 minutes, so. And we got the town broom and got it sweeping it, and I got the project up and rolling again.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Anything else under roads or bridges, Mike, that you've got on your radar?
What said I don't think so.
Which
Okay.
which truck broke down, Michael?
Mark's truck 1.
Oh, it did.
Same thing again with the DEF. And
Oh, okay.
yeah, sensor in the tank saying the tank is empty when it's full, and it was shutting the truck down. Cars didn't even think we'd be able to drive it over there, but we made it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So is the truck currently down there at Clark's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they said they could start on it first thing in the morning if we could get it there. So,
Okay.
and I think we need that truck to do the shoulder work after they finish paving, which I wanted to start the shoulder work in the morning, but now we don't have a truck, so we'll have to put it off a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to have the truck back tomorrow.
Great.
Mm.
And then did you have anything on your radar for buildings and grounds, Mike?
No. Like I said, I usually make some notes at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all good. Not to put you on the spot. Just wanted to give you the space.
No,
if you have something.
everything's been rather quiet, so I think everything's good at the moment.
Good.
Mm.
Awesome. So with that, if there's no objection, we'll hop to old business. Again, it's only 6:50, so we'll pause on visitors until 7. So first item under old business is just, again, at each meeting, trying to make a space for any updates or discussion just around the response to COVID-19. The town clerk is now reopened to a greater extent. The PSB itself is still closed, but the office is open for folks. An email went out about that this afternoon. So we're slowly trying to reopen the office to the public. There's still limits on how many people are going to be allowed in the vault in that space, just due to size concerns. But we're moving forward with kind of getting operations there back to as normal as we can get them right now. Anybody else have anything for this topic? Any updates or questions or? Yeah, Barry.
Okay, is my mic working, first of all?
Yes.
Okay. Did the town incur any unusual expenses because of COVID?
I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of unusual. We bought a bunch of heavy plastic to hang across the counter at
Yeah.
the town office building to block visitors,
Okay.
Um,
So we're under $1,000.
Yeah, as I think about
Okay.
this, there have been no large expenditures associated with this, again, other than just some supplies around cleaning supplies or personal protective equipment or things that the office needed to function.
Right.
Yep.
I was going to ask now that the office is open again, is there good support there around cleaning and hygiene? Do they have what they need? Are they doing that themselves? Are we bringing in anyone for cleaning? Just curious how that was
Yeah,
being
so
managed.
they've got what they need right now, I think. We still need to circle back to the broader cleaning discussion about
Mhm.
thinking
Right.
about who
Oh,
we're
yeah.
working with now. That's a little bit outside of this. Genevieve, since you're on the line, do you want to, welcome to hop into this discussion and give any background or anything that's on your brain about this. Hey, Genevieve?
Sorry, my
that's
phone
okay.
mute button is not as sensitive as one would hope. No, I think at this point we feel pretty in good shape. Liz has been great about kind of being judicious in our use of certain cleaning supplies. So we've been using the Clorox and Lysol wipes that we have. She ordered some more gloves. We have our own masks. As like in the Lister office, we all wear masks because we're in tighter corners. And yeah, I mean, I think we all, in reference to that plastic sheeting, it's like right where my desk is. And given today we had a bit of walk-in traffic, it was definitely a good investment, and that was per Aaron's suggestion. But no, I think we've been hunting things out. A lot of things are kind of in short supply, but I think we're pretty set unless we have some crazy amount of traffic, which I don't think we expect. So.
Awesome.
Are you requiring folks that visit the office to wear masks, or suggesting or not taking any action on that?
It's suggested. Liz has a lot of signage, which we have posted on the front door. It's also, I think, the same message that's on the website banner, and then I think she usually posts it to the Facebook page. We do request, but we were kind of talking about it today. It's kind of hard to police. People have been great so far, but again, that sheeting is a little bit to kind of help us. And we also have closed some doors, so you really can only come in the public safety building, the entry vestibule, and then straight into our office. You can't go to the bathroom or like past Aaron's office or towards the library. So we've kind of physically blocked the space as well.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Stu, did you have a comment or a question? Sorry, you're muted right now, Sue. So you need to unmute your.
Oh, so did you end up having the order, like, from Eliza? How did that whole thing?
Still can't hear you, Sue.
Weird.
It looks like you're unmuted.
I don't know.
You could type it into the chat and we can read it out loud.
Yeah, if your mic isn't working, there is a chat function at the bottom of the screen. You can hit the chat function and then type a question or something in there.
Oh. There's a chat function.
The menu will show when you move your cursor to the bottom.
Yep. So I got there, open by appointment only. So no, I think that they are open for walk-in traffic, but as Genevieve pointed out, they can only get in the front door and then a left into the office to the entryway there. They can't go into the whole building. Yep.
Can I interject here too? I do believe for like material services, licenses, things like that, we are open for walk-in, but I believe that for research appointments where you need to get into the vault still is by appointment until kind of further notice, just because of the close quarters and sort of us being able to control the cleaning. So
Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that, Genevieve. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good job.
Awesome. Anybody have anything else under this topic for tonight? All right. Well, not hearing anything. If there's no objection, we're close enough to 7 o'clock for government work, so we can pivot to visitors if that's okay.
I love that you could actually legitimately say that right now because we are actually doing government work.
What? I know.
That's amazing.
Like one of those great moments in life. I can retire.
We should use that way more oftenly.
Awesome. So we typically go on a first come, first served basis as far as visitors go. So I believe that I think Sue or Larry joined. I think Larry might have joined. Larry or Anita, do you have anything for visitors?
Anita?
I don't know.
Anita's going to be unavailable for a couple, 3 days as far as being able to go to the office should they need anything. Okay.
Okay.
She's going to be in isolation for a little while. I'm locking her in a room. Right. Yeah. The only thing I would request as a visitor is, as we make decisions involving outside recreation activities and stuff, such as the swimming holes or ATV use or whatever, that we keep in mind what we've got on our signs entering town, covered bridges and open hearts. Make sure that we do resemble having open hearts, okay?
Yep. Thank you, Larry. And I think, if my recollection is right, I think Sue might have joined next. Sue, did you have anything else for visitors? Nope. Okay. Melissa, I think I saw you jump on after that. Anything for visitors from you or Dave?
I know that in your new business, you've got something coming up about ATVs, so I don't know, maybe I need to wait, but I wanted to thank you for writing that letter, and I think it made a big difference the first weekend of Memorial Weekend. I don't know if I found out something that I didn't know about Saturday, that from Louis Danduran, that the first day of opening of the Vasa Trails, there was a big accident in front of his house. And he told Dave and I about it. And I just have some questions about that. If you didn't, I imagine you must know about it. Was there any citations involved?
Yeah, so this is the collision that occurred on Route 58.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were informed of that. It was a collision involving two ATVs. So there was a response by our emergency services. Our fire department responded.
Yeah.
Vermont State Police also responded. Vermont State Police, my understanding is, did not issue any citations at the scene. They had another incident occur while they were there, and so they actually left the scene, and our department handled it. So I don't know whether or not there was any follow-up on behalf of,
because there was alcohol involved. It was all over the road.
Yep, that's my understanding. Is that was the case. Yeah. But I do not have an answer as to whether or not there was any follow-up.
I understand.
Yep. Yeah.
And I think the letter helped the first weekend, but I think there's retaliation going on down here. I was at the community garden with Dave on Saturday, and there was some action. There's been some people around, law enforcement, Fish and Game was around Saturday in the afternoon, but they seemed to not see what I saw. They were already past the community garden when they were coming and flying down West Hill and Hill West and, going down 118. So I don't know, but I know that last weekend there were some tickets written to some ATVers, and there was some unmarked sheriffs in town, and I think that helped. But yesterday, Dave and I were at the ATM machine, and witnessed a caravan of 8 ATVs flying down Main Street in the center. Somebody else got a video of it, and they all pulled in to Ethan's shop and just crowded in the parking lot. So I did send you some pictures of that.
Yeah, I did see Ethan, the email to Ethan and his response.
Yeah.
Kind of funny.
Well,
yeah,
you know, but I mean, I'm trying to make it sound a little funny, but it's, to me, it's serious too.
Yes. Noted.
Yeah. So anyways, I think we need to keep the pressure on. I think what the conversations you had with Danny Hale, and it was out on their Facebook page. And I saw the stuff that Liz was putting out there on Facebook as well as the town clerk. That helped. But I think we should not just think it's gonna work every weekend. I don't know but anyways, that's another conversation for the select board to have.
Yep. Great, thanks, Melissa.
Yeah.
I think, John, I think you joined next. Do you have anything for visitors?
I just had a question. I'm mainly joining with regards to the old business for electric vehicle charging stations. But
Yep.
on a side note, I did have a question if street sweeping was still going to be taking place in terms of cleaning up residual slag and gravel that was left over from snow removal or snow containment efforts.
Mike, do you want to field that one?
Yeah, we're hoping to at some point if some rental equipment's going to become available. We've just been concentrating on getting Hill West and West Hill ready for pave.
Fair enough.
We have to wait for rental equipment to become available to do any sweeping.
Okay,
Great.
that's all for me.
All right. Thanks, John. Barry, anything for visitors?
Nothing from me.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Barry. I did note that Jane L joined us. So just for the purpose of the minutes, if you could identify yourself, that'd be great.
Jane the Riviere.
Oh, hi, Jane. Do you have anything for visitors, Jane?
No, I was just listening about the ATV situation.
Awesome, great. So that covers visitors. So if there's no objection, we can pivot to the ATV topic. There's no objection from the board.
Worked at Border. She was a teller at TD.
Yep. So if you could mute your line if you're going to be having other conversations, that'd be great. Thank you. So if there's no objection, just to pivot to the ATV item, just to get that taken care of. So again, this isn't meant to be a long forum for a huge discussion because we've had quite a few of those in the past. But just as an update, since we hadn't talked about this at our last meeting, let's see, God, it seems like a month ago, but I did reach out to, after hearing feedback from folks on Route 58 and other places in town, I reached out to Danny Hale, who was the director of VASA, and asked him essentially to step up and help with enforcement, as they said they've done in the past. That led to, as Melissa said, some outreach on their behalf, letting folks know that Route 58 is closed to ATVs as well as the state highways. The county sheriff got involved. Roger Langevins had some folks up here. I know Andre was out on their machine. I know Fish and Game has been around as well as the state police. So as Melissa said, it seemed to have an impact on the volume of activity we had here. We'll see how things go throughout the rest of the season. Just a few kind of key points to reiterate just for posterity. Since there has been some confusion about it, you know, the ATV ordinance that we have in place has been there for close to 17 years. It hasn't changed. Route 58, the state highways, Fuller Bridge Road have not been open. So this is not something new that the board is doing now. So I just want to put that out there and in the minutes for anybody who still thinks that that's not the case. And I also just want to put out there as to kind of to piggyback on Larry's point that as we do think about enforcement on this, we do want to keep an open mind and an open heart, Larry, just to realize that some folks that may be doing this may be doing so out of just not being educated, not understanding that certain roads are closed, and not out of a form of malice or malintent. And so, you know, I'm not going to say that's the case for everybody doing it, but we do want to make sure that we do keep an open mind that our first action here should be around education and getting folks to understand where it is appropriate to utilize these machines in town. Is there anything else from the board on this topic? Yeah, Suzanne.
Yeah, just a thought on as far as educating people who are coming from out of town, or, you know, like the signage that's not really there. Like, what about putting up signs around on the roads that people are using that we don't want them to use, that say, you know, no ATVs allowed here, or alternate route this way, or something like along those lines, to help people navigate where they are and are not allowed?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, because there have been tags kind of demonstrating which roads ATVs are allowed on with ATV speed limits of 20 miles per hour, but I don't believe we have any that say, you know, no ATVs allowed on road X. You know, for example,
Exactly.
town line on 58 or at the bottom of Hill West or West Hill. So yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob, did you have something now that your mouth is full? No. All right. Anybody else have anything on the board on this topic?
I think things have been a little bit quieter. You know, in the last couple of weeks, I haven't seen so many go by my place, you know.
Yep. Good. Well, good. Hopefully we're moving in a good direction on this. So hopefully that continues. Good. All right. If there's nothing else to be done under visitors, we can move on to item 6B, which is the electric vehicle charging stations. Suzanne, do you have an update on where we're at with that?
Yeah, I ordered the parts. I think we're just waiting for them to come in. And actually, Michael, it'd be good to connect with you once they do come in to kind of figure out when we should start that project.
Okay, yeah, we're going to need, electrician's going to be more involved in that than I will be, I believe.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
So we can get Doug involved and
Exactly.
take a look at that. Yep. So just as a refresher, these are still slated to go in at the Grange Hall, correct? In the Grange Hall lot. Yep.
Yeah.
Because it would be tied in there with power. Plus we have internet. We have Wi-Fi there as well. So that'll support them. Awesome. Great. Thanks for that update. Anything else under electric vehicle charging stations? No? Okay. Then we'll keep on moving. So next up, this is the wastewater and streetscape projects. So quick status updates. Today, the Northern Borders Regional Commission grant was submitted with the $1 million ask to support the wastewater project. In addition to letters of support from VCRD, Paul Costello and his crew, as well as the Franklin County Industrial Development Corporation, and one other statewide organization that ACCD, I think, wrote a letter to. In addition to those letters, there were about 15 or 16 letters from local businesses in support of this grant, including JP. So thanks for them. And thanks for all the local businesses that reached out in support of this. So this application, again, it's a $1 million ask to the Northern Borders Regional Commission to support the wastewater project, with the focus on this grant being economic development, job creation, job retention. So I have heard that there's a large number of asks for a limited number of dollars again this year, but the feedback we have had is that our application is really strong. And that given the legwork we've done with the preliminary engineering and all the work around that, we're pretty well positioned on this. So fingers crossed, and we're optimistic that we'll see something out of that. So that's kind of the main kind of status update. The next step with this, again, as we discussed last time, is going to be the bond vote. And so following last meeting, I emailed the bond vote materials out to everybody for review so that we can discuss and move on those tonight. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or concerns after reviewing the bond vote material? There were a couple things that we needed to add in there and tweak that we can talk about too, just edits, but I want to start just broad brush. Does anybody have any feedback, any comments, questions, or concerns about the bond vote material? And this would include the warning, the articles, the ballot, all that stuff. Okay.
I was just trying to pull that back up. Can you remind me the date that you sent that? For some reason, I'm not seeing it in here. Is that something you can quickly direct me towards?
Don't know the date that I sent it, but if you give me 1 second, I will email it back out to the board right now.
That'd be great. Oh, never mind. Found it.
You got it? Okay. Anybody else need it? Does anybody else need a copy? I can email it out right now.
No, I think.
Yeah, send me a copy, please.
Yeah, I mean, Barry, this will be posted after today, Barry. So there'll be
Okay.
a copy.
Not a problem then.
Yep. Okay, so then just quickly then what I'm going to do is I just want to screen share for a second, just because there's a few things in here that needed to be tweaked or added. So give me 1 second and I will bring my screen up. So if everybody can see that, one thing that was tweaked here, this said Orleans. It's been corrected to say Franklin.
Okay.
That was main content edit there. Scrolling down to the warning, the scheduled dates for the information hearings are shown here now. So the intent is to do a Tuesday evening, Thursday evening, Monday evening. They're going to be by Zoom. They'll be recorded and available for anybody to watch after the fact. And then the other addition here was just articulating at the bottom that additional in-person hearings may be scheduled as guidance for public gatherings allows per the state's emergency order. We're looking at what could be upwards of a month plus away, and if things continue to open up more, we could consider an in-person meeting. The challenge with in-person meetings is that any public hearings would have to be open to the public, allowing everybody to attend. And so if we did have a cap of like 25 people, we would either have to turn people away, which we can't do, or still have the online option available for folks to participate remotely. So it's not a great solution, but that's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
Beyond that, the articles are the same as were written previously in the copies that were disseminated. Again, the ballot is the exact same as was disseminated last time. And then the certificate of posting is for Liz to take care of. So our task tonight is to move on the ballot, the warning, and the resolution certificate.
11,790,000.
So with that, does anybody else have anything that they'd like to look at while I have the screen share open?
I have a question about the bond document, which I think is just a reminding me question, but we can get a motion on the table first.
Okay, bond document. We're talking about the resolution certificate, the warning.
Bond document. Declaration of official intents.
The resolution certificate?
I'm looking at the declaration of official intent number 1, the town of Montgomery to reimburse certain expenditures and proceeds and indebtedness.
That's the, yeah, sorry, that's a different document.
Yeah. So sorry, we can finish up on that document first. I didn't know if you wanted to, I was just noting I had a question. I didn't know if you wanted to get a motion on the table first.
Yeah, no, let me, I'm gonna stop screen sharing for a second and just pull up the document that I think you're referring to, just so I can make sure I've got it here.
Oh yeah, the file name is, oh yeah, declarations of official intent. It was the other document on the May 19th email.
Yes.
Is that something we're taking action on as well, I presume? Or is
Yes,
that just
so-
a,
Yes, the two, that'll be the follow-up would be the declaration of official intent. Yep. The first is the, yep, the two, yep.
oh, I think I answered my question.
Okay, so,
No, I did not.
so did you say you did or you did not?
Give me a second. I'm just going to reread this again, just to make sure that. Yeah, no, okay. I have a question.
Yep.
I'm seeing that basically $7 million totaled as the within that declaration. Is that accounting for? Yeah, can you just
So, Jacob,
confirm for me why?
I'm going to screen share for a second so we can look at the same document.
Great. Oh, yeah, no, it is just broken into two. That was my expectation. Sorry, formatting issue on my end. I was looking at intent number 2, number 1. I'm with you now. Broken into 2. I'm with you.
Yeah.
All good.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry. Thanks.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, so again, this things are broken here into 2 votes, 2 phases, 2 projects, and that's simply a factor of funding. So the first project, the wastewater project, this is going through a USDA rural development grant loan package that we're asking for, whereas the streetscape work principally would be financed through a USDA community facilities grant, a low interest loan, not a grant on that end. And that's why they're separate votes, separate documents.
So one could be approved and the other one not?
Yeah, yep. The town could elect to do the wastewater project, but not the streetscape project, or the streetscape project and not the wastewater project. Yep. That is it. Yep.
And we have to do it that way.
We have to do it that way due to the funding, the way the funding works. Yep. Because it would be separate bonds that we would go out for in the end. And I know that we've talked about this before, but I'll say it again for posterity in the minutes and the recording. The numbers reflected here are the full project costs. And those are articulated in the bond vote amounts because the bond vote needs to demonstrate the community's commitment to put their full faith and credit behind the project. It's required for USDA. We would never go to bond for $18 million. So these are subject to receipt of outside grant reimbursements. That's listed in there. It says subject to reductions due to outside funding sources, essentially. But we can't articulate in the bond vote language itself. We can't write that in there. We would never go out for that amount. It's just the function of how it has to happen.
If I may interrupt again, Charlie.
Yeah, go ahead, Larry.
What's your basic estimate right now for outside funding?
Basic estimate for outside funding. Well, I can tell you that. Hang on, I have a document that summarizes kind of where we're at with this. So if you want to give me 1 second, I'll just pull that up.
Is that the one you just sent to us, Charlie?
Yeah, that's the one I just sent everybody. So I just sent everybody a summary document that covers a lot of material that's going to be involved in the outreach for the project. But essentially, Larry, the expectation for outside funding is expectation versus hope. I mean, my hope would be that we could get this down to like under 1.5. The expectation is that we can get, I hope, pretty close to that or get it down closer to 2. But it's going to be a case of we're going to have to bust our ass to go out and find more money for this project. And then at the end of the day, come back together as a board and say, how much are we comfortable moving forward with based on community support and the feedback we get. To date though, we have, sorry, my computer is all sorts of Oh, here we go. So to date, we have applied for we've applied for $9.9 million to date through USDA and the Northern Borders Commission. We've also applied for $125,000 subsidy to help with the final design work. So those are the main ones that we've gone out for so far. We have also been listed in the state Clean Water Revolving Loan Fund project use list for that fund, and I don't have the numbers in front of me here, but I believe that we showed up on the priority use list for the state for $650,000 to cover final engineering and $12 million to cover construction. That's not to say that we will. It's not to say that we will use that because those dollars, the state revolving loan fund, those are low interest loan dollars, which are great. I mean, those are dollars that we can get as a community to use. It's still a loan. It's an incredibly low interest rate, but we want to max out our grant. We want free money.
Yeah.
But it is nice to see that, you know, we are on the state's priority use list for those funds in those amounts. So it's good. So any other questions or comments or reflections on the, yeah, Barry?
Will there be anything on the website that's a general description of the project?
Yes. So we're going to get to that next. But if you want, we can pivot right now before we vote, just because Barry brought it up. So outreach is going to be the next step. So the document that I emailed everybody this afternoon is not finalized yet, but I wanted to get it out to everybody to get your eyes on it and get some feedback on it in the next day or two. That's going to be the framework for what we're going to put on the town website. So it gives a project summary, it gives breakdowns of cost estimates and funding sources, and it provides about 40 FAQ, 40 Q&A regarding the project. So questions like, what is the conveyance system? How is it designed? What does it mean? What will it cost to users? How do we finance it? How is the thing broken out? So there will be a concerted effort to get that information out on the website. We're also going to be looking at using a lot of that as content that we can share via social media. We're going to be able to reformat a lot of that in a way that we can push that out through like Facebook and those sources. And then we're also going to do a push through print media. I'm going to try to convince the St. Albans Messenger and the Courier to actually do stories on this project. But at a minimum, what I was planning on doing, and I will ask permission now from you guys to do this, is to draft a letter to the editor to go out this week to the Courier and the Messenger, essentially reflecting the high points of what's in that FAQ document. The intent being that if people start to hear the news that the board passed a bond resolution for $18 million, they might think it's odd. So in order to get out ahead of it, I was going to draft a letter to the editor to go out this week.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, if there's no objection to that, I will use the content in that FAQ to draft a shorter letter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That was a well-written letter. They did a great job.
Yeah.
I wonder who helped them with it.
So back to the bond vote material. So the resolution certificate, warning and articles and all that. So our duty tonight, or our job, or whatever you want to do it, is to actually pass these. And then they'll go out before the voters. Liz will certify it tomorrow and they'll get posted. So is there any conversation before we call for a motion on the bond documents?
Yeah.
Right. Well, oh yeah.
Yeah, no. Right.
Sure?
I'm good.
Okay. Okay, so we can do these singularly or we can do them as a package. Does anybody have any kind of preferences on this?
I think just
Trying to do it as a package.
As a package?
Yeah.
This has been our goal now for quite a while.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yep. And I will point out to you that something about this project that keeps coming back to me, and Jacob, you'll appreciate this, is that all of this came from the Montgomery Thrives process. And the Montgomery Thrives process started off as a conversation on this board around the need for municipal infrastructure to support a town office. So it's an interesting looking backwards that, you know, what started out as a reflection on a failed bond vote and some community needs went through a large process of community outreach and engagement to then come to a point where the town, however you want to define it, has put forward these two areas of priorities for growth and action. So it's see that happen. So
Yeah, I agree.
So with that, I will entertain a motion to approve the bond documents as written, the resolution certificate, the warning, the official ballot, as well as the declarations of intent number 1 and number 2.
I'll make that motion.
Great, we have the motion from Leanne. Is there a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Mark.
Mark and Everett.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we will vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries and the bond documents are approved. So I will get these to Liz first thing in the morning so she can certify them and get them posted, and then we'll turn our attention to outreach. Yeah, watch this space. All right.
Charlie, pass our congratulations along to the committee. That's a reflection of a tremendous amount of work on their behalf, and
Yeah.
I acknowledge that. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, totally. Okay, moving on back to new business. We've covered item A. Item B, just an update on this, because I don't remember if we talked about it last time, but the July 4th celebrations in town. After discussion with the fire department, what's going to happen there is that the parade is going to happen. It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be, I think they're going to make the route longer so that folks can stretch out more and distance better. It's probably going to include less or modified floats so that we can handle the social distancing of people on vehicles. But that will go on, albeit a little bit differently. I think they might extend the route all the way up 242 to Alpine Haven and down 118, again, just so that people can distance. We don't want people crammed in the center. So that's the plan there. And then the chicken barbecue.
That's like 5 miles.
What's that?
Isn't that about 5 miles
To go where?
to go up from
Oh, yeah.
242 to Alpine Haven? No, it's like 3 miles at least.
Yeah, it is. It is. The idea is that they want to make a route that is substantially long enough that there is no concern of people crowding on Main Street. And if they do it this way, folks can go to their front yard if they live on those stretches. So it'll help with the distancing. And the chicken barbecue will also take place, but this year it's going to be held at the Public Service Building, and it's going to be a kind of a drive-through takeout chicken barbecue. Rather than having the party at the rec center, as they've done in past years, folks are going to go to the PSB to pick up their barbecue chicken from the fire department. That's the plan there.
Okay. So that'll be kind of like a roundabout driving tour, not unlike everyone in town going to the dump at once.
Yeah, I am not sure how they're going to structure it time-wise. I'm going to leave that to Doug and the crew, but that's the plan, is to do the pickup.
Okay.
So will the rec center be closed?
The rec center is, well, the rec center itself will be open for normal business, but it will not be open for a 4th of July celebration, if that makes sense. So like if you want to go play tennis on July 4th, assuming no one else is using the court, you could do that, but there's not going to be a sustained, party as in past years.
I'll bet they will be.
Well, if something does turn into a sustained party at the rec center, then we'll need to address that. But the plan is not to have any sort of town-sponsored activity like that.
Okay.
So, all right, moving on, just item 7C. So this, I just wanted to kind of take the board's temperature on this one because, again, social distancing guidelines are starting to be relaxed to some extent. You know, we didn't have an end date or anything for when we would move back to in-person meetings, but there is now the ability to have in-person gatherings of up to 25 people. And I just wanted to kind of poll the board of where folks are with comfortableness of continuing with Zoom, thinking about moving back to more public meetings in person. I just wanted to make a space for that conversation for thoughts.
Has VCLT published any guidelines, information, recommendations, commentary?
I do not know. I thought about that about 10 minutes before the meeting started. Because the guidelines came out Friday for the increase in gathering size. So I don't know if that's kind of filtered out to any kind of municipal guidance. But if I will check and see.
I mean, you wouldn't have room at 25 people in the public safety building.
No,
I mean,
there wouldn't be.
No.
you'd have to like use the Grange Hall.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would have to definitely alter locations to go to the Grange Hall. We could
Yeah.
hold them outside if we wanted to. I mean, that's another option.
Yeah.
My priority, I think, would be to allow as much access to anyone that wanted to attend as possible. And I know it can be, from my experience in the company, it's easy to have everyone in the same room, and it's easy to have everyone on the computer, and it's hard to have half the people in the room and half the people on the computer. There's technologies and way of doing that, but that's a bit of a it's a bit of a feat. And I think I'm so done with Zoom meetings. It's like such a major part of my weekly lived experience, and it's like awful on like 7 different levels. And so I have no love for this as a primary means of communicating with anyone. And I would prefer to stay here if that meant more townsfolk had access to this, if they otherwise felt uncomfortable or the physical space wasn't available at this point in time to keep people. So I'd err on the side of safety and access. As much as I would love to see us back in the same space at the same time, I'm going to be a little more deferring on the side of access and safety. Also, most of what I've seen in terms of indoor space and making that a safer conditions is either limiting the amount of time, controlling the people that you're with, or having really good indoor air quality circumstances like appropriate ventilation systems, et cetera, and I'm not totally convinced that these meetings would be short with the like same group of people. It's open to the public, and I'm not super sold on the quality of the ventilation system at the PSB as like a COVID compliant system. I've been looking at that a ton on the building side of things for obvious reasons now, and that's another strong argument for good ventilation systems in buildings that many of which don't have. So I'm not seeing a super obvious answer to that. Totally open to it, would love for that to happen. And it doesn't seem immediately clear to me that that's the best solution for both safety, the infrastructure available for it, and erring on the side of more people having access. But we're definitely open to poking at that and trying to get us back in person as soon as practical. That's my 2 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. Anybody else?
No.
Opinion from a visitor?
Yeah, I think Barry had a finger up.
I really prefer in-person meetings, and it's rare that you have more than 25 people. And the Grange Hall has tall ceilings, I think the air quality would be much better there. Might pay to put in a couple of fans blowing air out. And I would suggest that meetings be held there.
Okay, Larry, did you have a question or comment? Or
Well, first of all, I want to reply to Barry's assessment. I don't know that he's an engineer, knows how much the fans are moving per cubic feet per minute to make air in the Grange Hall acceptable. I would suggest that the select board, and I like you all, so I don't want any of you to get sick. It's okay, but I would suggest you revisit this near the end of July.
Yep.
And take another look at it then, not to make any judgment and decision tonight to move forward on that.
yeah, I think the intent wasn't to make any decisions tonight. It was more just to open that space as we see things opening up, just to kind of put a marker out there and take the temperature of the people. And yeah, I will say the air quality in the Grange Hall, I've been in there after prom and the air quality is not very good.
And what's interesting to see is that from the engineering side of things, a lot of the studies I've seen in some of the cases of outbreak that have occurred have been where people were 6, 10, 12 feet apart, very low occupancy, all in a big gymnasium, and everyone's still getting sick because that's how air recirculates within large spaces. It's not that it's counterintuitive, it's just it's not about the volume of air relative to the number of people. It really is like the quality and volume of mechanical like exhaust and supply and how it's applied. I'm happy to provide some information around that if that's useful in our decision making. But it was super eye-opening to look at it from the engineering space of just how, like in restaurants and how infections spread in a given space, just on like which direction the fan is pointing coming out of a wall. And like, that's all pretty known quantities. And it kind of freaks me out about indoor spaces in general. And I'm now even more freaked out that I actually see like viral transmission pathways like studied and presented. Or like, oh, wow. Yeah, let's meet outside forever. Like from now on, even in winter would be fine with me, knowing what I know now. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail us, but I can provide, I'm happy to provide, there's a lot of really good guidance around public and commercial spaces coming out now. So I'm happy to help supply that at any point if that's useful moving forward.
Awesome, thanks, Jacob. Okay, so we'll just leave that kind of out there.
I think Dave has a.
Dave, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, just quickly. When you decide to start having meetings person to person, what about having it at the pavilion if weather's dependent?
Yeah, like I said, we could do it outside, certainly. So that is an option. I think the main thing to keep in mind here is that if we do have meetings, they have to be accessible to the public and to all of the public. And so, as has been pointed out a couple times, if we do shift to in-person meetings, we do have to ensure that we have the capacity available to pivot to online should we need to, given capacity or caps.
Oh, yeah, that too. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we'll just kind of keep that out there and as we move forward and see how the world develops, assuming we're all still here in 2 weeks. The last item before the standard ones was just a municipal budget update. So typically throughout the year, we'll kind of do check-ins, half year things to see where we're at. I did ask Aaron to run some budget status reports because we're about 30% or a third of the way through the 18-month budget. And I was specifically concerned about a couple invoices that came in. And timing wise, I can't remember if we talked about this at the last meeting or not, but if you had signed the warrants, which some of you still need to go sign your warrants, you would have noticed that there was some invoices in there from St. Ange that were for, hang on, I got it here somewhere.
Hudson Bridge, yeah.
Yeah, they totaled about $65,000, I think. And they were for two projects that occurred, give or take, a year or two ago, that we thought we'd been billed for and paid for. So that put kind of a dent in the public works budget. So I had her run a budget report. All in all, we're in okay shape. You know, given that we're you know, about 30% of the way through the budget year, if we were to compare what we've gotten, I mean, our checking account balance is not the end all be all, but if you were to compare where we were last year to this year, in terms of of budget wise, we're kind of spot on. We're within a few $1,000s of where we were. And if you look at the budget reports as a factor of percentage of budget, and I apologize, I just got these from Aaron this afternoon, so I didn't have a chance to scan them and email them out, which I will do if people are interested. As a factor of budget percentages, you know, the only things that really raise an eye are around some of these public works things that either we're going to be looking at reimbursement for from FEMA, or it's just it's a thing that we have to pay, such as the invoices that came in that we just didn't have yet. So, so that was it. I actually thought this was going to be a much more drastic item for tonight's discussion, but luckily it's not. So that's good. So I will make these documents available and get them out to everybody so that you can review them. And if we have questions at the next meeting, we can talk about it. But that's just a quick update on that front.
Till we get the paving. Till we get the paving bill.
Yeah. At least we knew the paving bill was coming.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
So with that, there are no overweight truck permits tonight and no liquor licenses. So I will just offer one more subtle reminder to swing by the office at your convenience, your earliest convenience, and sign the warrants so we can take care of that.
You don't have to be subtle. That could be admonishing, and that would be appropriate.
Jacob, go sign the damn documents.
Totally on that. Yep, I will. I promise.
December the bad snowstorm.
Sign the documents.
Yes, everybody who hasn't signed, please go sign.
Mild public shaming is appropriate here.
So with that, there's no more business to be conducted unless anybody else has anything. And at this point, a motion to adjourn is always in order. So
I just want to throw out there that last Wednesday, when it was really super hot, there was, I'm going to say about 15 cars. There were about 15 cars that were parked heading up Route 58, and they were on both sides of the road. And it made it pretty tricky, like it was a one-lane road to go up or come down for anyone. So I don't know. I'm just gonna say that because if we have more weather like that still this summer, I still think that is going to be a safety concern.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. So, so I did get some calls about that. I know that the sheriff and I think the state police got some calls about that as well. I did swing by and chat with Brent about that because we did get those ticket books last year.
Okay, that's what I thought.
We did. There was an issue with them that we were trying to resolve, and then I apologize. Like summer ended, fall came, and it started snowing, and it kind of got pushed to the back burner.
Right.
So that is certainly now something that's back to the front burner to resolve those, so that we can start going out and ticketing, because that's going to be the
Is Brent the only person who can do such a thing?
I gotta clarify whether or not the constable, well, so any law enforcement official could, including our constable. I don't know if we can deputize, for lack of a better word, another individual or individuals to do that, but we'll follow up on that.
Okay.
Charlie, have we ever looked into leasing any property at all to relieve the parking problem on 58?
You mean leasing property to allow parking?
Well, yeah, that meadow across the from the Reagan Road where it comes out onto 58, that meadow or something, to lease a portion of that for vehicles to park. I assume we would have to do some maintenance and clean up behind everybody, but you know, to try to allow those people to use the water hose versus chasing them away all the time.
No, it's a good question. I never thought, because the trail there's a trail that goes right from that meadow down to the swimming hole. So it is an interesting point. I can certainly float the idea past the landowners and see what they.
You know, I don't know whether Teresa would lease any property down there around the barn or not, but you know, we've been fighting this for 3 or 4 years rather harshly, and doesn't appear that our hearts are open for the people who want to come and swim.
Our hearts are open. They just can't park. They can't park
And I
illegally.
agree. I understand that. I complained, I think it was last year, about having difficulty working my way through the traffic. But, you know, it's
Yeah.
not going to stop.
Yeah, no, it's a safety thing. That's the big
Yeah.
concern. It's a safety thing.
Yeah.
But, so, great. All right, anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Great. We have a motion to we have a motion to adjourn from Mark. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Great. We have a second from Leanne. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Great. Motion carries. Thanks so much, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Have a great night.